So without further ado, it's now time to get to the last 8 races of the day here for round 1, day 1 of the 2019 BNL Karting Series season. It's Micromax final number 2 this time, with Tommy van der Stroys and Casper Schormans on the front row, with Max Swiderski and Thomas Strauven on row number 2. Dries van Langendonk and Aaron Ferrazano will be in front of Olivier Jonkers and Matej Radenkovic. Karel Stout and Tom van Langendonk will be rounding out the top 10. Then you got Van Wees, Tobben, Van den Berg, Pappenberg, Menton and Henri Velou. Velou was called to the stewards a little bit earlier on today. So it's now time for the formation lap. And this time it will be slightly longer. It will be 13 minutes plus an additional lap on this particular encounter, as it will be for the other 4 main finals and also the 2 at the end of the day. So the drivers will now need to get into position ahead of the 2x2 rolling start formation for their second and final race of the day. We'll see them back in action for qualifying tomorrow morning at around 10 to 10 local time, as Van der Stroys and Schormans again lead the 16 strong into formation. So the top 10 now bunching up quite nicely as one of the drivers now tries to retake their place. And just keeping an eye on who that is. That looks to be the number 3 of Karel Stout, up in 10th position. So we're about to get the action underway here for the final time for the Micromax category, our youngest competitors in the field. However, they have showed us that they can provide some great, exciting racing. They head into the tram lines, 13 minutes on the clock, and we go lights out, heading into turn 1. Great start, it looks like, by Tommy van der Stroys. Heading into turn number 1, and along with him, I think, has gone Max Swiderski. So it's 2 abreast, and I think that was probably Thomas Strauven going up a position there, and has just done so, getting past Olivier Jonkers up into turn number 6. And we've had some comings together. 4 carts involved, 2 stranded on the infield between the entrance to turn number 6 and the exit onto the back straight. So 2 of them have got back going again. So 2 now eliminated, the other 2 now carrying on. So Van der Stroys leads from Max Swiderski. Looks like Strauven's getting a wriggle on with the number 15 of, looks to be Dries van Langendonk there. Thomas Strauven up into 4th place. Casper Schormans 5th. Olivier Jonkers in 6th, with Matej Radenkovic in 7th, ahead of Karel Stout. Yes, and unfortunately it was Tom van Langendonk and Pappenberg that came together, I believe, with Ferrazano and Van Wees. I think, well, it looks like Van Langendonk, Pappenberg, and also Menton may not be taking any further part. The 2 drivers, so I can see the number 26 of Tom van Langendonk running in, as well as Pappenberg. So Pappenberg also an early casualty. So Tom Pappenberg in the number 48, along with Jake Menton. So 3 drivers not taking any further part in this race. The lead between Tommy van der Stroys and Max Swiderski is just under 2/10, but Swiderski is looking very racy indeed behind the number 54. Other movers, Henri Velou now up into 9th place ahead of Kaz Tobben, who rounds out the top 10. So at the moment it is Van der Stroys, who's coming under pressure from Max Swiderski, coming through into the right-hand sweeper at turn number 8. And is trying to find a way past. Meanwhile, Stalven is fending off Kasper Schormans. Dries van Langendonk and also Olivier Jonkers are not that far behind. Looks like Matej Radenkovic is looking a bit lonely in 7th position. 10 minutes plus an additional lap to go. And Swiderski is still keeping Tommy van der Stroys very, very honest indeed here this afternoon. And a little bit further back, has that been a change? Yes, Kasper Schormans, I think, has just got past Thomas Strauven for 3rd place. With Olivier Jonkers also having made a positional change. Up to 5th goes the number 16, past the number 15 of his teammate at GKS Lemons Power, Dries van Langendonk. But it is a case of not if, it's when Max Swiderski might be able to get past Tommy van der Stroys. If anyone watched any of the footage of the BNL karting series kickoff a month ago, when Len Nys was trying his absolute utmost to get past the number 54 of van der Stroys, it was coming to no avail, as there's another change between Strauven and Schormans. Strauven gets the advantage going through turn 10, but Schormans got really good purchase coming out of turn 11, goes to the outside line, heading into turn number 12, cuts back in nice and neatly there, gets the toe, and goes side by side with Thomas Strauven, and pulls alongside and pulls past before they've even reached the apex of turn number 2. That's great work from the number 40 from the Netherlands. Getting past Strauven from Belgium. A little bit further down the order, there's some good positional changes between Stout, Velou and Kaz Tobben. That is the battle for 8th to 10th place. Oh, now we've had... Yellow flags are being waved going into, well, the exit of turn number 5. As they're just trying to get the marshalling team, just who do a fantastic job here, just trying to get the youngster to safety. So at the moment, it's still pretty much a stalemate between Tommy van der Stroys and the 54 and Max Swiderski on the number 19, both from the Netherlands. So Swiderski has clearly got an archer's bow with an arrow pointed at the back of Tommy van der Stroys, and is just waiting for the optimum time to release said arrow. As in, when is he going to overtake the number 54? Your guess is as good as mine, but we still have a lot of time in this race. Just under 7.5 minutes plus 1 additional lap to go in the last Micromax race of the very first day of competition for the 2019 BNL Karting Series season. Oh, Swiderski's looking very menacing indeed behind the number 54 of Tommy van der Stroys as the pair of line astern coming through into the right-hander at turn number 10. Who's going to have the better run out of 11? Behind Schormans is fending off Strauven. But van der Stroys is still keeping Swiderski at bay. A little bit further back, you've got Jonkers still ahead, I think, of Dries van Langendonk, with Tom eliminated early on. Swiderski still not really trying to force the issue, and is waiting for that opportune time to make that correct overtake and make it cleanly. Because sometimes a race-winning move does not happen within just a couple of corners. It's more like it could take a few minutes even. And then when you have to factor in that these drivers are going to have to try their utmost to keep things clean, minimize the amount of potential damage in terms of the chassis. Apologies there, I'm just moving my chair. With Tommy van der Stroys still there in first. Swiderski was just under a tenth behind, as Schormans is still keeping Thomas Strauven at bay. The battle between Dries van Langendonk, who's now got past Olivier Jonkers for 5th place. So that is an inter-team battle, And here comes Yonkers back on the offensive, pulls side by side. The inside run goes to him going into turn 2. That was quite fair. It was firm, but it was fair from Olivier Yonkers. So good job there by the number 15. Still concentrating on this battle at the front of the field with Tommy van der Stroys was almost 2 tenths up on having a gap between himself and Max Swiderski, but Swiderski is just really waiting and biding his time and thinking, I know I can do this. I need to wait for the right opportunity. As whoa, Casper Schomans, that was a great move. I think either you got Thomas Strauven around the outside, or you did one of the best defensive moves I think I've seen in a very, very long time. Yeah, could I also call Jules Castro 106 OK Junior driver to the stewards immediately? Jules Castro OK Junior driver 106 to the stewards immediately, please. Thank you. Meanwhile, we'll concentrate on this battle at the front and also the battle for third and fourth and fifth and sixth. And then we get a little bit further back. So behind Matej Radenkovic, who is actually having a very peaceful race, I must admit, in 7th position. You've got Stout, Karel Stout, Henri Velou and Kaz Tobben battling still over 8th place, with Stout now in the prime position to try and hang on to that for the next 3 minutes and 50 seconds, plus an additional lap. Now, the funny thing is, I'm noticing something happening here, and it's quite visible. I don't necessarily need a timing screen to indicate that to me, but whilst Swiderski and van der Stroys are battling, is it me, or is Casper Schomans and Thomas Strauven trying to work together to catch up to the leaders? Well, it seems to possibly be working, because the two at the front did a 1 minute 2.65. Schomans and Strauven, between them, did a 1:02.558 for Schomans and 1:02.54 for Thomas Strauven. So could they be working together? Best lap at the moment is from Casper Schomans on that last lap. Swiderski still keeping there, or thereabouts, on the back bumper of Tommy van der Stroys. And van der Stroys, I haven't really seen him glance over either shoulder. Oh, there we go. Another move from Thomas Strauven on the inside of Casper Schomans to retake 3rd position into the turn 10 right-hander. That's a great job by the young Belgian on the number 9. Gap now extends between van der Stroys and Swiderski to 0.2 of a second. But Swiderski closes up in the braking zone. He knows that in some way Tommy van der Stroys has become his marker. So where van der Stroys brakes, it gives Swiderski an opportunity to analyse the situation and see whether he can make it work. He's about a kart length and a half behind. Strauven has just extended the gap between himself and Schomans for 3rd position with 1 minute and 56 seconds on the clock. But the battle for the lead still raging on, still a stalemate between numbers 54 and number 19. Tommy van der Stroys ahead of Max Swiderski. 2 Dutchmen fighting it out, mano a mano at the front of the field. Whereas the battle for 3rd has started to go more into the favour of Thomas Strauven. And then behind them, Olivier Yonkers and Dries van Galen play fighting like a couple of little puppies. Obviously, I don't want to get into the blow between the two of them. We've seen teammates clash already today. I don't really want to see a repeat of that, because one of the biggest rules in racing is don't take out your teammate. So we've got 1 minute and 8 seconds on the clock to go. And Adam Ferrazzano has come climbing back up the order. Now up into 8th place, having got past Kaz Tobben, Henri Velou and Karel Stout. So the number 46 from Belgium now up into 8th place. Has a little bit of a gap to close, and I don't think there'll be enough time on the clock to do so, because it's to the tune of 8.2 seconds. So Van der Stoys now has around a 3.5 kart length lead between himself and Swiderski. Still, even firm and fair between the pair of them as Shawmans mounts an offensive. 23 seconds on the clock and goes up the inside. Has to show that Stalven needed to actually stay wide in order to avoid any contact there. So good peripheral vision there from the number 9 to anticipate the situation and react accordingly. Plus an additional lap to go as the number 2 of who's still circulating. As are we going to have this again? Strauven's back up the inside. He's bump drafting and goes round to the outside to try and cut back in, retake the position, which the number 40 is absolutely doing brilliantly there, and actually was quite firm. But I think that was pretty much there or thereabouts. There was no rubbing, there was no wheels clashing between the pair, and as far as I'm concerned, that was fairly clean. Final lap of the race here for Micromax to conclude their racing this very day, Saturday, March 23rd, with Tommy van der Stoys. You know what? He's actually really controlled this situation, but Swiderski, I think, has just shown to the number 54, his fellow countryman, saying, you know what? You might have won the first one, but I'm out here to win as well. So we're about to come to the conclusion. With Tommy van der Stoys again making it a good run to the finish. Got to be really happy with that. Tommy van der Stoys from the Netherlands, leading home, in fact, a 1-2-3. Because Tommy van der Stoys took the win. Olivier Jonkers rounded out the top 5, a further 7.3 seconds adrift, having battled tooth and nail for quite a bit, and Pitt, Dries van Langendonk, is GKS Lemon's power teammate in the number 15 to 5th position. Matej Radenkovic finished in 7th ahead of Adam Ferrazano. Henri Velou finished in 9th with Karel Stout from Belgium, rounding out the top 10 in the number 3. Mick Vandenberg, Kaz Tobben, Horion van Wees were the last of the 13 classified finishers, with Tom Bangelangendonk, Tom Pappenberg and Jake